Rose, you just got teabagged. No. Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back
To its SaVeg podcast. Clearly, we're once again unprepared.
Well, I thought this
Maybe we should invest some money into better mic stands.
Well, when we make some money, we will.
Well, apparently all our videos are getting demonetized, so I don't really understand.
Oh, god damn.
We're never going to make any monies.
Mm-hmm. This
God
is a
damn.
true story, guys.
God damn, it'd be hard to make monies in the podcast world.
It really is. You gotta...
I wonder how many podcasts actually make money, like a decent amount of money.
I feel like podcasts are kind of like realtors. There's a lot of them. Not that many are successful. It's a reality.
It is the reality.
Because
this is very true.
You always hear, and I always hear these like random
Everyone's
stats.
a realtor.
Everybody. And it's like, you know what? Last year, I think they said, what was it? It was like some ridiculous stat. They were like, last year in Canada, 71% of all realtors that are like registered realtors did not make one single sale.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, also that's not... 71%.
Yeah.
But that means like they'll get the they'll register as like a realtor, get
Yeah.
their license, which I'm assuming is not hard to do because like
know.
a lot of people are doing it. And then they like kind of do it on the side.
Yeah.
But I think it's like unless you're very like hustly,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to succeed that much.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I think like now more than ever, the market is so saturated.
And now it's like almost a buyer's market.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think.
I think it's shifting.
It's slowed down.
Yeah.
It's slowed down.
Well, especially in like I keep hearing stories about Toronto, and I don't know.
Yeah.
They said they were talking about the Calgary market as well, and they're saying about how the Calgary market is starting to slow a little bit, but the Toronto market, especially the Toronto condo market, there is some fucked up shit going on there.
Still?
Apparently, like the inventory is at like the highest levels it's been in years, and it's like there's not that many buyers because investors are no longer investing because it's becoming like because of all the costs associated with buying the condos now, and the rent that you can get doesn't equal like a profit, and so that was like 70% of the condo market was investors.
Interesting. So I'm wondering now, it's like because a lot of these big cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary is like I think a little bit more approachable, but because the price of real estate has gone up so much, right? And for the average person, especially like, you know, fucking Gen Z graduating university, like they're not going to be able to afford, most people are not going to be able to afford a house. So I wonder if it's just going to become like a rental market for like a very long time, and like housing is going to be harder to sell, especially in this economy, you know?
That could be one of the things that happens, right? There's so many different factors. Like it's going to be interesting to see because even going back to the Toronto market, like even with all these factors that are like saying it's a buyer's market, the prices aren't dropping as fast.
Prices don't go down.
No, they dropped a little bit,
but not much.
It's like, oh, maybe there'd be like a 2% drop. It's like, no. They need to come down like 30-40% before it starts to become like a normal market again. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I guess as long as there's renters, even if the rental market isn't as like lucrative, people would just rather hold on to the property and then just like rent it out.
For sure.
I don't know. I don't fucking know. Well, like think about London, UK, for example, right? Most people, even like people our age, which is like 30s, like they don't buy a house there. Like, because
no one
you
can
can't.
afford
like,
it.
It's just not possible because like we're talking about generations of people that had so much wealth that bought up all of the real estate and brought up all the costs, and then now regular people, even people making good money,
it's crazy.
Like decent money in London, they can't buy, which is crazy. Like
it's nuts.
So anyways, who knows what's going to happen in Canada? Okay, we'll find out. But even in like Toronto, for example, it's already happened because a lot of people that are maybe our age that make significant money, that have dual income, they still have to buy a home in like Markham or like, you know,
really
somewhere
far
not
away.
actually in Toronto.
Which is like, yeah. And then they're stuck commuting for hours and hours.
Exactly.
Like that, I can't even think about like, and obviously like no shade to the people that do this because it's a choice. Like if that's all you can afford and it's unfortunate that it has to be out of the city.
Yeah.
The issue that I always think to myself, I'm like, I've never experienced this and I never want to, but I can't imagine what a drain that puts on your life when you're commuting to work. Let's say you're driving for an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the office.
I know. It's
every
so much.
single day. And that's back and forth, right? So
Yeah.
you're on the road for 3
to
4
4
hours
No.
of your day. Like that blows my mind.
Time is money.
I know. And I'm like, and then
I know.
a lot of these offices now are like putting pressure because a lot of people have got used to this hybrid environment. And especially in Toronto, if you're living really far out, you're saving 4 hours by not
Yeah.
commuting. Like that's huge. That's huge cost savings for you. That's probably more time you can commit to your company as well because you're not on the road for 2 hours. And yet a lot of firms are like, hey, we want everybody to come back to the office.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's a control thing.
100%.
Yeah.
And also I do feel like the people making those decisions, like the very senior executives, they're out of touch.
Out of touch. Fully
Yeah.
out of touch.
Like I remember one of my very first jobs in London, and the firm that I worked at, I actually worked really closely with the executive team. And I remember one of the executives or somebody made a comment about like me and another girl's, like, because we were kind of complaining about our salary at the time. And
as you do.
As you do. And they were like, well, you know, like, I don't get it. It's such a, like, it seems like such a good salary, blah, 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 blah. But all of our executive team, none of them actually lived in London.
Right.
They all lived outside of London. They all lived like in different cities and stuff that were much more affordable. Plus they're on a much higher salary. So to them, they were like, oh, in their small town or wherever they were, our salaries would have been great.
Right.
You know,
right.
but in London, it went nowhere. So I was like, it was kind of like a reality check. I'm like, guys, like literally none of you guys live here. Like,
yeah.
Like we're the poor suckers that are stuck here because, you know.
And how do they not understand that when they chose not to live in London?
I know, exactly. It seems dumb.
So stupid.
I know.
Anyway, guys, before we jump into obviously we've already started yapping as usual. But we have a few YouTube members.
Oh, that's right.
That we need to shout out. So if you guys don't know already, we have now opened up YouTube memberships and our memberships are growing.
They are.
So we'd like to say thank you to Gina.
Sucharitha? I'm really sorry.
Sucharitha. And Vegan Reads for joining our YouTube members. So guys, if you want to join, you just have to click the little join button on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it'll show you like the perks and stuff and the different levels. So make sure you join. You get ad-free content. You get every episode a week earlier than everybody else. And you get bonus episodes every single month.
Yeah.
And you get a little shout out.
Yes.
And you can also join on Patreon as well if that's what you prefer.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
All right. So we do have a bunch of stories. Obviously, this podcast lately has turned into the Trump dump. That's what I'm just going to call it from now on. But before we get started, we thought we'd do something a little bit fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing. So we normally, I'm sure you guys know, we do a full breakdown episode of Love is Blind.
And why aren't we doing that this year, Rose?
Well, okay. So every season, we've done it up to season what? What the fuck was it?
I think is this season 8 that's right?
I want to say
it's
season 8 right now, but I don't know. But like basically every season, and even including one season from the UK.
That's right. We did a UK season as well.
We did a full episode breakdown of this trash reality TV.
Yes.
This year, I tried to watch.
Oh,
okay?
We all tried, Rose.
Well, you actually did it.
Well, no, I didn't. I'll debrief you in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I tried to watch with the mother.
Rose.
Daniel's gonna kill me. I accidentally touched the mic. Anyway,
get your hand away from that microphone.
I tried to watch it, and I was like, basically, I think we explained this. My friend was having this like Love is Blind viewing party.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, this will be fun. So went over, we're having snacks, we're watching this. And it was literally the most boring thing I think I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And this is like when the first few episodes came out and it was like usually the few episodes are in the pods, but usually by like episode 2 or 3, you have a few proposals, you have a few,
things happening.
Reveals, like things are happening. But this thing was just dragging on.
Oh my God, it went on forever.
And it was like in the pods for like the fucking eternity. And I was like, because the pods are like so boring, like sorry, but like fucking, oh my God.
I feel like we were in the pods.
So much in common. You like spaghetti. I love spaghetti too.
Oh my God, your granddad's name is Bill? My granddad's name is Bill too. Yeah. Oh my God. This is destiny. It's like maybe 70% of the population in that demographic name is Bill.
Crying. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe they have the same name.
This is crazy.
Oh my god. Anyway, so basically it was like that, and again, like none of it was interesting. There wasn't that much drama.
I feel like we were in the pods longer than the contestants. Seriously, it was like on and on.
And every conversation, because like we ended up starting to fast forward because we were like, oh my god, like, it's so bad that it's bad when it's like we literally are having a viewing party, so it should really be more entertaining because it's like a bunch of us are
and you're all commenting and
but oh my god, it was so boring that we just started fast forwarding. But like we literally fast forwarded through like an entire episode because it was like, oh my god, they're still fucking talking in the goddamn pods.
It's crazy.
Like, what the fuck is going on? Where are the editors this season?
I know. It's like it's they need to do some serious editing.
Or like I guess there wasn't much drama.
No, that's just it. Like even when you got to so you had like the pods and then you went to the vacation in Honduras or whatever.
Sure.
Even in Honduras, like nothing really happened. And like obviously I know it's a TV show and it's like great. Maybe these couples are more content, which we'll get to in a minute. But it's just like obviously you need some drama. Like you have to keep the viewers like if it's just people being like, I love you, oh my god, I love you too, and oh my god this and oh my god that. It's just like,
how do you have like no drama? Like I don't even understand. Okay, let's look at the couple. Okay, so I didn't actually end up watching it. So this is the thing, okay? Yeah. I stopped watching it after like 3 episodes of the fucking pods because I literally wanted to shoot myself in the face.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. And I guess it's the end of the tradition because every year, it's not even just the episode that we film for the podcast, but we also like discuss it with like our friend Christelle on our like WhatsApp chat, and it's like a whole tradition. But now it's gone.
It's gone.
Thanks to you fucking producers
for
making it the most boring episode of boring season of reality TV I've ever seen.
It was so bad. So why I wanted to caveat. So I actually I watched the pods.
Yeah.
And I
am actually very impressed.
I know. And I watched a few episodes. A few episodes of like the vacation. And then I watched a few episodes when they get into the real world.
Okay.
And then I couldn't watch any more.
Oh, okay.
But what I did do is I was curious to see who made it. So I watched the season finale or what's it called? You know, when the recap, when they all get together and then they like do
the reunion.
Reunion. Yes. Thank you. So I watched that.
Okay.
Most of it.
So wait, so you didn't make it through to the weddings?
No, I didn't watch the weddings.
Okay, but you know who made it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you... Okay, so let's look at the fucking boring ass couples here.
Yes. There wasn't any real surprises, to be completely honest with you.
So I heard that only one couple got actually married.
Yeah.
So this is season 8, I think. Okay, so there's Joey Lavelle and Monica Danis.
Okay, so these two. This is the guy that kind of looked like Tarzan with the long hair.
Yes, I remember him.
What happened at the reunion? I can't remember if he said no or she, because I think she said yes at the altar.
And then he said no.
I think so. And then she was like commenting about how he like didn't take this experiment seriously. And she's like, because he, I guess, was like friend zoning her or friend vibing her.
Okay.
And she's like, if he felt like that way, he should have told her from the beginning. So that was their little drama. So not much drama, but
okay. So Daniel's going to go through some of the drama here.
Yeah. Anyway.
So he's giving me the kind of like short version. Okay.
Yeah. So Devin and Virginia. So this couple initially, I was like, ooh, they seem really cute together. Sure. Like they seem like they're vibing and whatever. And I guess she is the one that said no at the altar.
Okay.
And she basically was like, what did she say? Oh yeah, no longer together. She basically said like off camera, there was a bunch of things because he was like very religious.
Oh.
And she was like off camera, there was some things that they like fundamentally disagreed on. One of them was like about gay rights. One of them was about the right for an abortion. All this like stuff. She was like, these are fundamental things that
you spent like fucking 6 episodes in the pods and you didn't fucking discuss like your religious views and your views on these very fundamental issues.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was crazy. So that was her. Also, she was a Democrat. Yeah. And he was a conservative and she like couldn't deal.
Why did you not discuss that in the pods? That's like, I feel like that's the one benefit of having these experiments, okay?
I know.
Because it's like, this is the one chance that you can literally be like a dick and be like, hey, so like, I'm a Democrat, what are you? Like,
exactly.
I would literally just straight up be like, are we compatible this way? Because I don't want to waste my motherfucking time.
Exactly. And that's what you're supposed to do in the pods. You're supposed to lay out all this.
Like,
there should be no fucking surprises.
Your grandma's fucking name?
That's what they were talking about.
Like, why is that important?
Well, they both love spaghetti though, Rose. fundamentals, you know? Okay, so this was an interesting one. So Ben and Sarah was another couple.
Is he the dick?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, I'll tell you about I'll tell you about the dick in a minute.
Okay.
Oh my god. This guy, I'm gonna lose it. So anyway, Ben and Sarah, they were really cutesy, and I thought Ben was really cute. I kind of was into him, and he was quite religious. He went to
God, they're all motherfucking religious.
I know. He went to church and stuff, but he had a lesbian friend and was a little bit more open-minded. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, while they were together, Sarah got this one random girl sent a TikTok to her or something that was starting to go viral, and it was one of Ben's alleged exes where she was she did this TikTok of her crying and was he ghosted her or something, and this was and he dated her apparently 5 years ago or something.
Okay.
And he said to Sarah, he's this wasn't a very big deal. We just went on a couple dates. It wasn't a big thing. I don't know why she's doing this TikTok. Maybe
probably to get clout.
Yeah, but get this. So Ben and Sarah didn't end up getting married. I can't remember who said no or who said yes. But what had happened was after they didn't say yes or didn't get married, Sarah was going to do school or something in a different state, or she was going to do something in a different state for a few months, and then was coming back or something. Anyway, the whole agreement that they had is they still wanted to date.
Okay.
So she was well, why don't I'm going to drive there. It's a 12-hour drive to wherever she's going. And then you can fly in a day or two.
Okay.
Meet me and we'll just live here and date and whatever. He never came. Yeah. So she left, and then she's
So he kind of ghosted?
Yeah. So he kind of just and then Sarah was saying in the reunion, she's I can kind of see how this girl on TikTok feels now because
right.
You literally told me you were going to come in, and he's yeah, but you didn't text me. You didn't text me back. She's are you fucking kidding me? What is your issue? She's I expected you to be there. And then she's she also was saying how fake he is because a month before the reunion, he called her.
Yeah.
And was we should figure out our story for the reunion.
AKA don't tell people that I fucking ghosted
that
your
I'm
ass.
a dick. Yeah.
God.
So there's that one. I think some of the men in this season were fucking
the thing
crazy.
Is, for how boring this season was, you'd expect that everyone gets married and happily ever after, because usually the boring couples are the ones that end up being actually happy.
Yeah,
but seems everyone's a fucking mess, yet it was still fucking boring.
I know. Well, I feel some of these people, they were messy, but they didn't Ben, for example. He seems he's now that all this is coming to light, he seems like a player and a bit of a dick.
Right.
But he plays the nice guy.
Right. You know what? He should have just played the dick and then
got some views.
Got some views or something, some popularity, because fuck me, you're on a reality show, bitch.
Yeah. So this is the thing. So Sarah was willing to work on the relationship after the wedding. They even lived together for a bit. But when Sarah headed out of state for a job with the understanding that Ben would join her in a few days, he totally ghosted her.
That's insane.
He claims he wanted to talk, but Sarah didn't respond to any of his 3 text messages, which she felt was highly scripted and disrespectful since he didn't fucking come meet her. Because I guess she left, went to go move with the expectation he's coming there, and then a week later he texted her and he was sorry, I'm not coming, blah blah blah. And she's and then
so it's too late.
Exactly. She's what the fuck.
God.
Yeah. So then Daniel and Taylor.
Okay.
They were
Let me see the.
They were the super cute couple.
Okay.
Both very religious.
Yeah, because this is in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Or something? Are they super religious there?
I guess. I don't know. People from Minneapolis comment.
Are people religious in Minneapolis? Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Is it Minnesota?
I have no idea.
Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah, that sounds right.
Or is it in Indiana? No.
No, it's Minneapolis. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was Minneapolis. I think so. Loved the Mighty Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
Love the Mighty Ducks.
I'll have to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in years. So anyway, the other couple was Daniel and Taylor. They were literally just a cute couple. They were really sweet. You could just tell from the moment that they were together. They just seemed like a really good couple. They got married. They're the ones that got married, and they were super in love. And it was actually really adorable when their families met. It was pretty cute.
They're oh my God, you're Christian. You're Christian.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it'd be perfect.
I know, pretty much exactly like that. Let's see. Where's the one with the? I hope the next one is the dick. So much to say.
Yeah, this guy.
Okay.
That guy. What's his name?
Dave.
Dave. He seemed like a fucking. He seemed fucking shady from the beginning.
So okay,
I hated him from the beginning.
He was, but get this. Okay, this is my favorite thing. So this Dave character, right?
Okay.
Hang on, I'm gonna get back to his picture. So I feel so fucking bad for Lauren, who is the girl that he ended up with, right? So what had happened? They get back. They're he already seemed kind of shady in the pods. He already seemed kind of shady at their reunion. Shady. You could tell that he wasn't fully attracted to her as well. I felt like that was a part of it too. Right. And he just seemed very just like not a nice guy. He seemed like a fucking player.
Okay. Yeah.
So they get out of the pods, and his sister allegedly, or one of his family members, comes forward to him and was like, by the way, Lauren was fucking somebody or dating somebody before she got on the show. And there's like all this like drama, and he was like, what the fuck's going on? And then all of his friends
before the show?
Yeah. All of his friends were talking about it. So he talked to Lauren, and Lauren goes, oh, like I had a situationship with this guy.
Yeah.
But she's like, it wasn't like serious. We weren't dating. It was like more kind of fuck buddies, you know, like we did have sex.
Yeah.
And then he's like, when did you have sex 48 hours before you got on the show?
Oh my God.
And she's like, well, no, probably like maybe a week before or something. But like it wasn't serious. Like I was going on the show to find a relationship. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she goes, when's the last time you've had sex? You know, like,
yeah.
You know, and he was like, well, it doesn't, and he just didn't comment and stuff.
Oh, of course he didn't comment.
And the funny thing is, so the thing that pissed me off the most about him is how much he fucking gaslit her. Because he would be like,
he seems like a professional gaslighter.
Oh, he was, but he talked in circles, and I wish, because Lauren's too nice, I wish he just called him out on his shit.
Right.
Because he would say things like, because Lauren was like, his friends were supposed to come over or something, and Lauren's like, can I meet your mom and your sister, right?
Yeah.
Because she's like, I want to meet your mom, I want to meet your family, and he's like, well, and he kept kind of like avoiding it, and he didn't want her to like meet his sister for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then he would say things like, he's like, yeah, my sister's like hung up on this like whole thing with this guy, and then
God, why is the sister getting into this fucking business?
I know it doesn't. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Oh.
and then he goes, yeah, you know, what did he say? He was like, but if my family, if I, you know, really wanted them to meet somebody, they would meet them, you know? And she's like, well then, do you not want them to meet me?
Yeah.
It's like, and then he kept talking in circles about how, you know, and they even called him out on the reunion. They're like, look, if you really loved her and you really, even if your family was being all weird, you would have made her off, because they have the opportunity off camera to meet them as well. Because some families don't want to get involved.
Sure.
And Lauren even wrote a letter to his sister to be like, hey, like, I know you've heard some things about me. Like, here's a little bit about me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not true, all this other stuff, and gave it to him and was like, please give this to your sister.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even give it to his sister.
God.
I know. And I was like, the whole time it's like pretty clear that this guy, Dave, was not ready for a relationship. And he just like dragged Lauren along.
Oh.
And then even at the reunion, he's such a fucking player. Even at the reunion, he goes, you know, he's like, I realized I threw this away, and, you know, I feel really bad for you, and I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I still really love you and all this stuff. And, you know, he's like, I realize it's my own, like he did say it was his own insecurities and stuff. And she's like, cool, but like honestly, I don't believe you. Like, you've had my number. You could have texted me multiple times.
Yeah, he's just basically putting on a show.
Exactly. You could have said something up until the reunion, but you fucking didn't. So I think that was the last couple.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they saved the shadiest one for last.
But that guy, the whole time, even in the pods, I was like,
he was shady as
I know. I was
fuck.
like, this guy's a fucking player. And then when he kept running around in circles with Lauren, being like, oh yeah, you can't meet my family, blah blah. And she's like, and then he's like, yeah, but you know, if I really wanted someone to meet my family, they'd meet my family. And then she's like, well then, can we meet your family? Like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on, man? It was crazy. But anyway.
Well, there you go. There is the most boring season of Love is Blind recapped. Hopefully you enjoyed this very shortened Daniel's recap. Condensed version, because clearly it wasn't that interesting.
No. We're going to have to come up with a new trash TV.
Well, apparently Temptation Island is where it's at. Did you watch it?
I have not. Have you seen it?
No, but our friend Christelle has been telling us to
She's
watch
recommended it.
Yeah, I might watch it. Have you been watching White Lotus?
I haven't seen it, the new one yet.
You haven't watched it yet?
I'm waiting until are all the episodes out now?
No, but there's about 4 out now.
Okay.
4 or 5.
Okay, and is it getting better?
I'm still very disappointed in this season.
No.
Some people, like, I don't know. Some people are like, I feel like it's extremely slow. Okay, so far, guys, I think I've watched up to 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And they've been releasing them like kind of like a normal TV show. Like every week there's like a new episode.
Right.
Does that piss you off?
Nowadays, yes. Because I'm just like, you know.
We're used to getting things like now.
Exactly. So what I'll do now is I'll like wait until the whole season's out.
Really? Why don't you wait? Watch it. Why don't you watch like 4 at a time?
Well, or I could just wait till it's all out and then watch it back to back to back to back to back.
Don't you? I kind of like the kind of slightly delayed gratification, but I don't like one episode a week. Like I would prefer maybe like, you know what, like, you know how Love is Blind does it? They do like 3 episodes.
A block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a nice block. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not going to be sitting here fucking watching a 12 episode series in one sitting.
This is true.
But anyways, yeah, so far I am not a fan. I still watch it because I'm like, okay, I still want to know what happens.
Yeah.
But like,
It's in Thailand, right?
it's in Thailand. I just feel like the humor isn't there for me this season. I don't like I
Hotel
don't really
stuff?
like any of the actors.
Yeah.
Like no one is, and no characters are really
Gripping you.
gripping me. Like
Yeah.
there's a few different character lines. Obviously, you know the show, right?
Yeah.
Nothing is really enticing me. I find the dialogue to be a little bit like, how do I say? You know when a dialogue doesn't sound like it would be like a normal person's dialogue?
See, it feels like forced almost.
Yes, almost.
Yeah. Or like rehearsed.
Yeah, like almost like people don't talk like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some parts that I liked, but so far, like, because like seasons 1 and 2, I was like hooked from the beginning.
Well, because they were so fucking good.
They were so good.
Yeah.
And some people are like, and I think it's so slow this season. Not much happens. And people are like, well, this show isn't supposed to be about things happening. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
First and second season, shit happened right away.
Yeah. Didn't someone died in both episodes or both seasons?
Well, I think someone dies in every season.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the whole
Premise.
theme.
Yeah.
But like, for example, the first season, and maybe because like usually in each season there's at least a few like really standout kind of funny characters. Like the first one was actually both of them were the managers. They were pretty funny.
Yes, the managers were
great.
so good.
And also like obviously Jennifer, what was it, Jennifer Coolidge? Is that her name? Fuck, why did I? Yeah.
Oh.
She's like obviously iconic, and now, you know.
I'll never ever get over the scene where she's like all dolled up and she's trying to, I can't remember who she's trying to look like, and her boyfriend takes her on the date.
She's trying to look like I can't remember. Some kind of Italian.
Yeah, she says the line at some point. She's like, I look like blah, 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 blah. And then they're like on this like Vespa driving on the countryside, and she's like choking on bugs and stuff. She's like, and then he's like, stop it, you're gonna make us tip. And she's like, like, she is just comedic gold.
Yeah,
Like,
because she's not there.
I
in
know,
season 3,
that makes me
it's kind
sad.
of like, I don't know, like something is just not right.
Another iconic line, the gays.
Oh,
The gays.
gays are trying to kill me. Do you know these gays?
And then
the
he's
gays
like-
are trying to kill me.
And he's like, gay? Soy gay.
Oh, gay? Oh, soy gay. Which or so, what was it like? Tutti gay.
Yeah.
Everyone's gay. Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh.
But anyway, so far, I want you to watch it because I
Yeah.
want to know like what you think.
Okay, maybe I'll start. I mean,
Please, can you just start? Like,
Yes.
there's like 4 episodes. You could watch this in one night, and then next time when it comes out, you can watch the rest.
True. Or
Yes.
I wonder if Crave lets you download so I could watch it on the plane. Because I probably could.
You might be able
I'll
to.
check. I'll
Yeah.
check.
Anyways,
Yeah.
not, and also like one of the characters that's in this season is Arnold Schwarzenegger's son.
Oh, right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I like cannot stand this man. I don't know
Really?
why. Like there's something, he like plays the douchey kind of, overly sexual like frat boy kind of thing.
God.
Which like is fine as a character,
Yeah.
but like I don't know, something about him it annoys me every time he's on the screen. I'm like, oh, like his acting, like I don't even know if I believe it. Like, anyways, and
I'll
people
have
are
to
like talking
watch.
about how he's like a nepo baby, like he's like he only got the part because he's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, and his
yeah.
literal last name is Schwarzenegger. So
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking hell.
And it's not like it's a, common last name.
Exactly.
It's not like
Like everyone knows that's fucking your father.
exactly. It's not like Smith.
Big problem in Hollywood nowadays. It's like
Yeah.
everyone that's like someone is someone famous's child.
I know. I feel like a lot. Like
Nowadays, like I would say more likely than not.
I know, it's kind of crazy. Like you start looking at like even just like people up and coming, like, oh, that's an amazing new actress or actor. You look
Nope.
them up. It's like, no, their parents or
Yeah.
their aunt is this person, or you know what I mean? It's
a
just
lot of
all,
them, they
like,
change their last name so
Yeah.
that they like look different.
Yeah,
But let's face it, they all have the connections. Like,
exactly.
sure, you can change the last name and I get it. Like it's not their fault. They were born into that kind of, but at the same time, it's like, it's just a little icky.
Yeah, and it does make it easier.
Way easier. They
You've
have
got
all
the connections. Yeah.
And first of all, like you're born into that world. So obviously you're like absorbing everything in that world from an early age.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have your parents who knows this entire industry.
Yeah.
So you don't have to navigate that on your own.
Yeah.
And then they know everybody and all the different studios and
and they'll have all the connections to be like, oh, I did this amazing movie with you, Steven Spielberg. Why don't you cast my daughter?
Exactly.
She's an up and coming actress, but she's phenomenal, and she's my daughter, so obviously she's gonna be good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, fucking stupid.
Yeah. Speaking of nepo babies, no.
Who else is a nepo baby?
Isn't Trump a nepo baby?
Oh, he's a fucking nepo baby, of course.
Yeah, he is, because he's from the Trump dynasty.
He's definitely a nepo baby. His his dad basically gave him a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah.
And what I hate about these nepo babies is okay, I get that again. It's you can't blame them for,
the hand they've been dealt.
Exactly. But just acknowledge that you have been given
exactly
a lot of privilege.
And I say this now because I'm not a nepo baby, but so it's easy for me to say it. But I feel like if I was exactly how I am right now, but I happen to be a nepo baby and I was in Hollywood, I would just own it. I'd be like, you know what? If people were interviewing me and they were like, oh, so how do you think I got this role? I'd be like, well, probably because my parents are connected, probably because and I also work hard. Exactly. I work hard.
And I think I'm relatively talented.
Exactly. But I'm not going to discredit the fact that, my parents helped me get to where I am.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to try to hide it and change my last name and do all this other stuff. I'll be like, look, it is what it is.
But maybe, you're right. Because we aren't nepo babies.
I know, exactly.
We think differently.
Well, it's like that. It's like they did that experiment, and I think I told you about this, where they would have people in a room play a game of Monopoly.
Yes,
yeah. And they would give, and it was just everyday people, me or Rose could be there.
Yeah.
And almost every single time they would give a very unfair advantage to one person, and that person obviously always won. And it was funny because almost every single person, they asked them, why do you think you won? And it's none of them said because I had an unfair advantage. They all were because of my strategy, because of X, Y, Z. And it's no.
Even though they knew that they had the unfair advantage.
Exactly. So, it's human nature. So
yeah. Anyway, so speaking of nepo babies.
Yeah.
Trump.
Our favorite.
And our other favorite nepo baby of Elon Musk.
Yes, I love a good Elon Musk story and a Trumper.
So basically, one of the things that's happening right now, let me just find it here. So right now, I know you guys, we are the Doom and Gloom podcast. We usually bring you all of the Doom and Gloom, but I have a little bit of happy news.
Yeah.
Basically, Elon Musk's companies seem to be flopping.
Yeah.
So basically, Tesla's stock, year to date, Tesla's stock has plunged 41%. Okay. So it is still up by about 36% over the past 12 months, apparently. Yeah. But anyways, so the once $1 trillion company saw their worst day in 5 years this week.
Oof.
So it's not looking very good for Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And basically for Musk, Tesla's shares remain his primary source of paper wealth, though he has also turned his stake in SpaceX into a personal lending tool. So basically, these rich people, I have never been a fucking billionaire. Okay.
Have you not?
Nor have I been a millionaire.
Yeah.
So I don't know how these things work, but apparently a lot of them, they just don't have cash. They have their stocks.
Yeah.
And then they borrow money. Right?
Yeah, this is, I don't know how it fully works either, but I remember I watched this YouTube video on it. Again, because I'm not a billionaire or millionaire either. Mm-hmm. But what happens is a lot of these people like Musk, probably even like Trump and stuff, a lot of their money is tied up in companies, in stock, right? So they don't want to necessarily cash out that stock. They want to keep it in case, as the company grows and whatever else. So they're kind of stuck in this cash flow situation. So what they do, which is again kind of crazy, is they go to the bank and they can borrow against the value of the stock that they have. And then they can use that. Then they're not taxed for income. Well, and also they can write off the interest from the loan as an expense as well. It's really complicated. Revolution time. I know. And it's fucked. It's crazy because I can't remember what someone was saying. They were like, oh God, who was saying it? There was a comment or something where they were talking about how they were talking about taxes and how on shares specifically, you don't actually get taxed until you sell them, right? Because they're not, you don't recognize the value until you actually sell it. But yet banks will loan against it and recognize the value then. Right. But they won't tax you on it because it's, you can't. You're still holding it. Yeah. Exactly. So it was a whole thing like that where they're it's interesting that you don't get taxed on it until you cash it in, but yet you can borrow against it. Right. So it's all basically
to benefit these very rich people that
Hugely.
have all of these stocks.
Yeah.
So basically, I think what people are saying is because Tesla's shares remain his primary source of paper wealth, it is hurting him.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
But will it hurt him? Obviously not. He's still the richest
He's
man in
still
the
a
world by
billionaire.
far.
Yeah.
But people like that, it's not going to be good for his ego and mental health, which great, fantastic for us. But
not just Tesla. There's been a lot of stocks dipping because of all this whole.
This is true.
Because basically the uncertainty in the market with all these like fucking Trump tariffs and all this shit going on.
Yeah.
There's uncertainty, and whenever there's uncertainty, there's going to be volatility generally, and that's why we've seen like a little bit of a dip for a lot of companies. Some obviously have still been going up, but like quite a few have dipped substantially during this period of time.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I guess Tesla's European sales plummeted by about 50% in January compared with the same month a year prior. So it's not looking great for Tesla, which I have no problem with. I mean, I think if he just stayed quiet and just did his billionaire stuff and not involved himself in these affairs, this would not be happening. So I am very happy.
The ego on these people, though, I always say to myself, and I've said this on this podcast, and this is probably why, obviously, well, number one, I'm never going to be, oh, God damn, Rose.
My tea bag just flew into my face.
God damn.
Anyways.
Rose, you just got teabagged. No. But the ego on these men, like, and women that become like these billionaires.
How many women are billionaires, I wonder?
There's a few. There's definitely a few. But the issue that I have with this, it's like, with especially like Elon, I'm like, any of these guys, first of all, fucking retire. You're a billionaire. Like, you do not need to work anymore. Yeah. Stop. Like, what are you doing? And then on top of it, okay, let's say you love running your company and that's like your source of passion, and that is your kind of what do you call it? Your like zest of life, you know? So like, fine, I get it. Do it. But go do it quietly on your own. Fucking make your company the best company ever. Just fucking work there. Do whatever. Why do you have to be doing all this other shit?
I think he's so just needs... He's like an insecure little man child.
Yeah.
So he needs this like power and validation. And
it's same with Trump. I mean, look at...
I know.
Trump is a perfect example. This is a man in his late 70s. Okay?
Isn't he 80 now?
I think he's getting close. I think he's like 78. Yeah, something like this.
Something like this.
And I'm like, dude...
I know.
You're literally like, I'm sorry, but most people, average lifespan is like 80, maybe a bit low.
That's being generous.
I know. For men,
in the States, I think it's lower for men.
For men, it's probably like 70. I think it's like late 70s, right? And I'm like, dude, retire. Like, enjoy time with your family. Like, what are you doing?
They can't do that. They need to continue to, to do this kind of shit.
It's crazy.
So one of the things that Trump did, because obviously, Tesla isn't doing as well as it could be. And there's a lot of people like vandalizing Tesla cars, which obviously I don't think that's very whatever. But people vandalizing like Tesla dealerships and protesting at Tesla dealerships and just crazy shit happening. People buying bumper stickers that say, I bought this before I knew Elon was crazy, which I highly recommend buying if you are a Tesla owner.
Yeah.
And some people are like, well, you should have known Elon's been crazy for a while. Yeah, but some people don't pay attention.
Exactly.
So like, I think it's fair when people buy a Tesla because they're like, oh, okay, it's a nice car, whatever.
And I think the big pull of Tesla is because it's not you're not using gas. And
I found out that ironically speaking, the electronic, because obviously a lot of people that would buy a Tesla are people that like care about the environment, right?
Yeah.
But then apparently because I think we talked about this before, where like Tesla, because they're not using a certain amount of like carbon or whatever energy, a certain amount of whatever the fuck energy that's like bad for the environment, they get like credits,
right?
And then they sell, but then that's great because then that means they're not contributing to,
and then they sell them
to the environment. Exactly. But then they sell those credits to other companies, so really they're not actually creating any benefit for the environment,
right.
But obviously I guess like you could say that like having a electronic vehicle would still be maybe potentially better than
I'd have to, and I'm sure it is, just because if you weigh it out again, I don't know, like the amount of fossil fuels to generate the electricity versus the fossil fuels that would need to drive the car. I think that, and also you're not burning probably as much. I feel like it might be like better overall. I
would hope so.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it is because that's the way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's the way it's been marketed. But like, who knows?
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So because Tesla is struggling a bit, Trump decided, which is so crazy, but also, I mean, everything's crazy nowadays. Trump decided to do a little ad for Tesla. So if you didn't know what corruption was, here it is.
It's crazy.
This is corruption 101, my friends. So Trump is literally standing in front of the White House in the driveway with a new Tesla to show support for Elon Musk, aka basically he's like saying how great the Tesla is. He's like looking at this Tesla. He's like, I'm buying a Tesla because it's like he's going to leave it at the White House for his staff to use it. He's like, you should definitely buy this car because it's great. Apparently he literally like he said something that like normally would be like an ad read for Tesla. Right. So we have the president of the United States. First of all, Elon Musk that donated like $200 something million to President Trump's campaign to allow him and help him get elected. Yeah. And then Trump coming out and basically, you know, talking about how great a Tesla is.
God, this is just wrong on so many levels.
Illegal. How is this legal?
I know, because it's like your president is promoting products. Like he's like
a company.
Yeah, of a company that he's probably invested in. That's probably so many different levels of wrong.
Like, it's so crazy. Yet Susie receives a fucking, you know, a fruit platter from some other company, and then it's like, oh, it's bribery. Yeah. It's like, okay, that's, you know, like, bribery, but this isn't bribery.
It's crazy because like a lot of companies generally have like bribery policies.
They have
where you're
conflict of interest and bribery policies.
Like if a client sends you of something over, like let's say it's over $50, you actually have to get a special approval, all this other stuff, because it can't be seen to be bribery.
But no, the president can literally promote a car and receive $200 something million to promote his campaign. It's crazy.
But democracy's dead in the U.S. Like
it's been dead for a while.
Yeah, like it's actually like crazy.
In slightly better news as well. So today it's not the worst news day.
No.
Okay. So in Canadian politics, if anyone's interested, first of all, we have a new prime minister.
Yes.
Okay. New prime minister,
Mr. Mark
Carney.
Yeah.
So he has been newly sworn in as the new prime minister because, as you know, Justin Trudeau stepped down as the Liberal Party leader, and now Mark Carney is now our prime minister
of the Liberal Party.
Liberal Party. Yeah. So we haven't done like a new election yet, but it seems as though the Conservatives are crumbling, as this article says. Liberals surge past CPC, which is
Conservative Party Canada.
Conservative Party of Canada, into majority territory, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because when Trudeau, so before Trump got elected and when Trudeau was still prime minister and before Trudeau like resigned, the Conservatives were basically
going to win a majority.
Exactly. Yeah. Going to win by far.
Landslide.
Like, landslide victory. If we did an election at that moment, Conservatives would have won, like, for sure.
Yeah.
But Trudeau resigned, which I think was one of the best things that he did.
The right decision.
The right decision at the time, especially because he was so unpopular. And, you know, people were blaming everything on Trudeau, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And then he resigned. And then Trump got elected. And then all this crazy shit started happening. Like Trump being like, oh, we're going to fucking take over, you know, Canada and make it the 51st state, which he still talks about.
I know. Oh, my God. I saw this TikTok as well, though. There's people from Alberta. Oh, my God. That are like,
why do we live here? Why do we live in Alberta?
There's like a TikTok and this redneck guy from like, I don't know, fucking some small ass town or whatever. He's like, yeah, you know what? We don't agree with the rest of Canada. Trump, take us. We want to join you, blah, blah, blah. And then everyone in the comment section was like, you do not speak for all of Albertans. Like, fuck no, thank God.
At least other Albertans. Oh. Yeah.
Anyway.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, just move to the States, bruh.
Just go.
Just fucking go.
You don't need to be here. But I do think Mark Carney, like, I think people like him. Yeah. Like, I think he's definitely, because I've even heard people in the office start talking about him in a really positive light compared to Trudeau has amassed like a hate following.
Oh, like full on hate following.
Yeah.
Although now I think after the Trump election and after Trump threatening with the tariffs and the fucking 51st state nonsense, Trudeau made some few like he's gained some popularity because he's been doing these speeches that were like really well received.
Yeah.
But either way, like he, you know, and he had stepped down already. So it's like, like the main thing with the conservatives and the leader of the conservatives, the fucking Pierre Poilievre or whatever the fuck his name is. All he was talking about for the past like few years is how much he hates Trudeau and how Trudeau sucks. And then the carbon tax. Yeah. Which this Mark Carney guy is saying he's going to get rid of this carbon tax.
I heard of that too.
So now we don't have Trudeau and now we don't have carbon tax. So who are they going to, and what are they going to blame?
This is true. They can't point so many fingers.
Yes.
Ironically though, not ironically, maybe ironically, thinking about people getting elected and all this stuff. So like during this time, obviously, so Trudeau's maybe had like a little bit of a shift when, you know, all this craziness that's happening down in the US. The ironic or interesting thing is, and I saw this the other day, they were talking about some of Trump's platform, right, as to get elected. And one of them was he wanted to bring down the cost of goods for the everyday American, right? Like that was his promise, right?
Yes.
And that was what he stood his platform on. And now it's ironic. I keep saying ironic, but they were saying, I watched this like economist that was like talking about this. And he's like, all of the policies that the Trump administration is putting into place are actually going against what he has originally said, because he's actually creating inflation for the everyday consumer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all knew he was full of shit.
Yeah.
Okay. We knew he was full of shit when he was, I mean, we knew, not everybody knew, but we fucking knew he was full of shit when he's saying, I'm going to bring down, like, come on, people. Yeah. First of all, he's already been president, so we can look at, like, you know, whatever the fuck he did the first time.
Yeah.
And second of all, like, he is, first of all, running as a Republican who's never really cared that much about the average consumer.
Yeah.
And B, like, he's a billionaire and he has buddies that are billionaires. Like, he does not care about the average person.
No.
And so, like, when he's like, oh, we're going to bring down costs, I'm like, okay, how?
Yeah.
And now the Trump trade wars are slowing global growth and fueling inflation, it says.
For everybody. Not just, everyone. Exactly, because Trump's like, oh, you know, we're gonna do this because like he keeps saying about how the U.S. has been taken advantage of by so many different countries, which is such bullshit because they always get good trade deals and they bully their way around, and it's like it's just wild. But all of his policies, yes, of course, they're going to impact Canada negatively. We're going to have some economic turmoil. We're going to probably slip into a recession. But you know what? It's actually going to impact the U.S. a lot as well. Yeah. So as much as he likes to think like, you know what, they're isolated, it's going to cause a boom economically, blah, 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 blah. It is going to have downstream impacts for every country involved.
It's so crazy to me because initially when he was campaigning, one of the things that he was saying was, I'm going to bring down grocery prices the day I get into office.
Yes.
And now people are like, oh, it's going to take time. Then why did you promise that?
Exactly.
Like, why would you say that on the campaign trail? There needs to be some level of accountability of all the bullshit that you spew on the campaign trail because, oh my God.
I know. This was my biggest argument about politicians in general, though, is I feel like there needs to be, I get it. Look, when you're running a campaign, you can't fully know exactly what's going to happen, right? You could say, hey, we want to invest 50 million in education when we get into power. Well, we get into power and we're like, shit, we can only invest like 30 million, you know? Sure. But at least it's within a certain realm. You know what I mean? Like you're still doing, instead of being like, hey, we're going to invest 50 million in education, get into power and then be like,
let's
just
cut
kidding.
The education.
Let's cut the budget for education. Like, I feel like there needs to be some sort of like metric or accountability to be like,
but there's none.
I know. It's just like, you can just fucking lie through your teeth.
Yep. Get elected.
But it's not even just, it's like with election, it's also with like voting for like referendums. Like look what happened with Brexit. Like, you know, some of the biggest campaign items on Brexit was to reinvest into the NHS.
Right.
100 million a week, 100 million pounds a week or something ridiculous that they spend on the EU that's going to go into the NHS because that system, you know, there's a lot of problems and they need more money. Anyway, long story short, that never happened.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, sorry, just kidding.
Oh.
You're like, oh, okay, cool, because that's what people voted on. Anyway, yeah.
Anyways, okay, I also want you to watch White Lotus because there is a scene where like Trump so this group of friends are sitting down. There's like three friends that are girls and these ladies are sitting down. They're like kind of talking about politics and it gets kind of awkward. Yeah. And I want you to like watch that scene because like that's one scene where I'm like, oh my God, it feels like very real. Like that's the one scene where I was like, oh God, uncomfortable. Yeah. Because like I'm sure, especially in the States where it's like so divided, I'm sure that there have been some people that have had these conversations with, you know, maybe their friends or their family members where it's like you start talking to them and you're like, holy fuck, did this person vote for Trump?
Yeah. And you're like, shit.
And then you're like, can we still, like, is this,
It's hard with politics because, I mean, obviously you can be friends with people that are different political mindsets. And I think it's important to not have everyone that you surround yourself with be of a certain mindset. It's just, I think the challenge there is like a lot of the fundamentals of what the different policies represent,
Exactly.
So, and that's where it can be a little bit challenging, I don't know.
I think it's quite challenging because it's like, it's not just politics, right? It's about like how you view the world, how you view, society. How to treat people in society, and how you, like how do you view, like, for example, like gay rights or abortion rights, like, these are things,
women's
or
rights.
like women's rights or immigration rights, and how these people are, treated in society, and that's like all politics.
What should we do about social health care? What should we do about, for example, if, I watched this, speaking of which, I watched this, and it was another TikTok, and this one person was talking about comparing the UK to Dubai. Right. Oh. And they were saying, we don't understand. Like, we go to Dubai and life is so great here and we don't get any taxes and blah, 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 blah.
A fucking deluded
I know.
universe.
And then this guy in the comment section takes all of his points and like knocks him out of the park and is like, okay, well, maybe there's certain things that they don't have in Dubai. Like maybe they don't have social health care. Maybe they don't have social assistance if you lose your job and you get fucked. Maybe there's no pension. You know what I mean?
Maybe there's no gay marriage in Dubai.
Exactly.
And gays are actually not allowed in Dubai.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different factors.
And that's coming from a very privileged kind of position, like somebody that's like, oh my god, I love Dubai. Like, I'm sure Dubai is great for certain people, but there's a lot of like shady things about Dubai that aren't really talked about.
100%.
Okay, so fuck that. Okay, fuck that motherfucking bullshit. So we're gonna go back to the doom and gloom. This is so fucking sad.
Okay.
So there was a club, like a nightclub in North Macedonia, and let me find it. Hold on. So there was a fire in a nightclub in North Macedonia, and it's killed at least 59 people.
Holy fuck.
Okay. This is my worst fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay. So this blaze broke out around 2:30 local time, which is like AM. Obviously, people are fucking partying.
Yeah.
On Sunday at the Pulse
People
Club.
are drunk as fuck.
People are drunk as fuck. They're fucking having a great time. So about 500 people were gathered for a concert by DNK, which is a popular hip hop duo in the country. Only one member of the band survived and was being treated in a hospital. And there's been at least 59 people that have been killed.
And 155 were injured.
155 were injured. Which is...
Because you imagine, too, you have the fire situation, right? But you have a bunch of drunk people in a small space all trying to get out.
Yes, but listen to this.
Okay.
Police have detained 15 people after a fire at the nightclub in Macedonia. So basically... the interior minister has said that the detainees will be questioned because there are grounds for suspicion that there is bribery and corruption linked to the fire.
What?
So he said the venue did not have a legal license to operate. So the venue in a town around 100 kilometers east of the capital has been described as an improvised nightclub in the local press, having previously been a carpet warehouse. So I'm assuming that, they didn't have the proper, how
licenses,
usually, you have a building, and if you're running like a nightclub or a restaurant, there's certain codes, like you have to be to a certain code.
Fire code, all that sort of stuff.
So it says here that there had been only one efficient exit in the building as the venue's back door was locked and could not be used. So especially when it comes to something like a club, there needs to be very proper fire kind of
guidelines,
right?
Or fire protections.
So the first on-site inspections on Sunday had showed several abnormalities in the venue. There are deficiencies in the system for fire extinguishing and the system for lighting. So basically, we don't know all of the details yet, but it sounds like people were not fucking following the rules.
That's bad. So, ironically...
Are you just using that?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever told you. Pretty sure I told you this. I've been to a few parties like this. That were like
where it's a bit shady.
Where it's like a warehouse, or like one of them was in like a home-ish, or like an abandoned like building.
London.
Yeah. And it was like a construction site with it was like rubble basically, with like a roof and shit. And there was like a DJ in there. Yeah. Not safe.
Not ironic, by the way, but...
No.
That is not safe.
I know. It's crazy.
And it's scary. Like, I don't know. That's fucking scary.
That is really scary. And all these young kids are probably just wanting to have some fun.
So sad.
Fucking raving, doing whatever, and then this shit happens.
See, that's the thing. So especially when you're in a club and there's only one single entry and exit point, and it caused a panic, obviously. And somebody was caught in a crush at the club. This is another thing. There's a few different factors here.
Yeah.
There's too many people, and everyone's trying to exit through one exit.
Yeah.
So you could be crushed in the crowd.
Yeah.
You could also like fall, and then people could fucking like stomp on you, and then you die that way, or you die in the fire. There's so many risks here.
Oh,
I can't even fucking imagine.
So I saw a different story, but there was a venue in Spain somewhere. I think it was in Madrid. Something happened. People were trying to get out.
Yeah.
And there was actually a video where the doors had opened and there was people trying to get out, but people had fallen and then more people were like kind of getting over top of them. And it was like, it was insane. Like just to see all these people like fucking, and it turned into like a mess.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that thing that happened in Korea.
Yeah, in Korea. It's exactly like that.
Oh God. This is why, honestly,
the
big
crowds.
Crowded places, especially when they're like tight spaces. And I will never forget when I was in Portugal, in Lisbon, in the old district, there was like some kind of festival going on and the streets were fucking rampacked and there are all these narrow corridors and shit, right? And I actually like, and I don't get anxiety like ever, like very rarely. And I could feel my heart like pounding.
Oh God.
And I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. Like I'm scared.
That's so sad. Be careful of these spaces.
Yeah.
Of these sort of, so anyway, I guess a lot of people are okay. So another story about this nightclub disaster is that a lot of people are angry in this in northern Macedonia.
Yeah.
So thousands of people have protested in the town of Kokani, demanding justice and action against corruption.
Yeah.
See, this is why, okay, people. This is why we do not like corruption.
Yep.
Because when you have corruption in the government and when you elect people that are fucking corrupt and when you have corruption, it ends up hurting people.
Yep.
Because then, for example, like we always talk about Boeing and how Boeing, like all of these safety measures are, and they're lobbying the government
now. For like
they're lobbying the government, which is fucking corruption. By the way, if you're paying money to the government to do things that you want, that's fucking corruption. We don't want this because then there's going to be less security measures, less safety measures, because that's going to cost money and companies don't want to spend money.
Exactly.
So anyways, we don't know the full details, but it sounds like these people know that there was a lot of corruption and that's probably why it's, caused issues. So it says, now it says about 20 people have been detained for questioning over the disaster, including the nightclub owner and some former government ministers.
So the nightclub owner might have greased some government people to be like, don't like let me slide by without having proper safety precautions.
It says, many believe that the corruption has allowed the improvised venue to operate with inadequate safety measures.
There you go. Says it all right there. God,
that's fucking crazy.
It is.
Okay, so one last random story that I found. This is kind of crazy because basically there's a bunch of scientists at an Antarctic base that are doing whatever science shit,
studying the soil sample, studying the snow,
yes,
the snar.
Exactly. So they are due to the snar.
The snar.
They are due to work together for months. Okay, at this remote, and it's like fucking Antarctica. Okay, so it's fucking remote. Everywhere in Antarctica is gonna be remote.
Would you do this, Rose?
I would go to Antarctica. I would not stay there for months because this reason exactly.
Okay.
So remote Antarctic research station has been rocked after a member of the team was accused of assault. So I read that the member of the team was like basically threatening to kill another member of the team. So imagine you're in this fucking remote place. The only people you know are this group, right? Because like right now, like if somebody tries to assault you, could call the police, you can call people. They're not, none of that's there. So about 10 researchers typically stay at the South African run base, which sits about 170 kilometers from the edge of the ice shelf, and it's difficult to reach, okay? Because like it's fucking Antarctica, okay?
Yeah.
So there was an assault at the station following earlier allegations of inappropriate behavior from inside the camp. So basically somebody like sent a message. Again, I feel like there's probably lack of communication as well.
Yeah.
Somebody sent a message. Basically it's let's see here. Yeah, like somebody from the camp sent a message saying like you need to respond to these concerns with utmost urgency. Like we want to fucking leave.
Yeah.
Because there's some crazy person here that wants to fucking kill us.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So the ministry said that those on the team have been subject to a number of evaluations that include background checks, reference checks, medical assessment, all of this stuff, psychological assessment. But I mean, you're also located like fucking in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Isolated.
Harsh weather conditions. And, you know, it's just kind of, it's like a lot. They're supposed to be there till December.
Oh my God. And they already want to leave.
Well, basically, I guess one member of the team sent an email warning of deeply disturbing behavior by a colleague and an environment of fear.
Oh my God.
Like, that's fucking scary. Send a fucking...
rescue people.
Rescue because, like...
Yeah, that's really... And it's like you're stuck there. It's not like you can just like leave.
Like, where are you going to do? Like, run? Like, what are you going to do? Run to the fucking, like, snow pile? Like, what? Like...
There's nowhere you can go. Like, you're literally stuck there.
This is what I mean. This is the danger.
Send a rescue mission.
I know. It's scary.
It is very scary.
I wonder what's going to happen.
God damn.
Anyway, so basically they want to leave. I don't know if they can leave.
Yeah.
It says, but any rescue operation would have to contend with harsh climate, with temperatures well below freezing, and the possibility of strong winds. So, like...
Well, and I also think because isn't Antarctica going into its like winter right now?
Maybe that's another
because
reason
it's opposite,
why.
right? Like I think it's opposite down south. Oh,
you okay?
Yeah.
How be your tummies?
Feeling not great.
God damn. Anyway, so there's that story.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens to
God
Antarctican researchers.
Save
hopefully
them.
Hopefully they all make it out alive.
Could you imagine if they just went wild and they'd been warned and this person been warned?
No.
That would be brutal.
I mean, that's very risque to like send people without any possibility of like rescue. But I guess it's the same as like astronauts.
Exactly. And you would think, obviously, these are highly trained individuals. They're like researchers. They've gone through like proper checks, but you never know.
You never know because you're not. Yes, you can go through the psychological evaluations.
And I feel like a lot of sociopaths can pass those tests.
Yeah, if you're a sociopath, yeah. But also, even if you weren't a sociopath, you could probably
fake it.
No, I don't. No, not fake it. But I'm saying is, you pass those psychological assessments because you were not in the environment that, you know, you're not
in a stressful environment.
In the environment.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going to happen once you're in that different environment.
Exactly. Like, and they say that when you're in these situations, it's like if you're in solitary confinement, right?
Exactly.
Like even someone like you or me that probably would pass a psych evaluation. I would hope.
Well, I don't know, Daniel. So it's a little questionable.
It's a little dicey. But like you put any average person that would pass a psych evaluation into solitary confinement for like, I think it was like, is it 2 weeks or something like this? And people start to develop mental health issues.
Yes.
So it's like no matter what. And so I think you take that and maybe it's a little bit less extreme being in like it's like a research station. So obviously you can move around and like you're doing stuff and you're working and whatever. But like you put people in isolated environments like that.
They're going to go fucking crazy.
Exactly. They're going to like, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So hopefully these scientists make it out and they survive.
God damn.
God damn. And on that positive note, that brings us to the end of this week's episode.
It sure does.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube your thoughts.
Yes.
Join us as a YouTube member
Yeah.
or a patron.
Yeah, for exclusive content.
Yeah, for exclusive content, ad-free content.
Yeah.
And every week you get the episode earlier than everyone else.
You do.
Which is lovely. And what else, Daniel? Is that it?
Well, if you are listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to hit that follow button. Then you get updated as soon as new episodes go live. Yeah. And guys, obviously check out if you're fancying going to the Canadian Rockies.
Yes.
Check out. I think there's still
4 spots left.
Oh, there's 4 spots.
Yeah, 4 spots left.
4 spots left to come join us.
We are hosting a trip in the Canadian Rockies.
Yeah.
So yeah, info will be down below.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.